The drama unfolding inside the Cleveland Browns organization has reached a point so volatile, so publicly revealing, that even longtime followers of the team are stunned by the level of dysfunction on display. It feels less like the development of a rookie quarterback and more like the unraveling of a franchise struggling to protect its own reputation at the expense of a young player's career. This week, when head coach Kevin Stefanski stepped behind the microphone, what should have been a routine press conference became a turning point in the saga surrounding Shedeur Sanders. The words Stefanski delivered didn't simply critique a rookie's performance. They exposed cracks in the foundation of the team's leadership and ignited a firestorm of outrage that spread through the fan base, through analysts, and through anyone who has been watching the Browns' fumble quarterback development for years. Stefanski began with calm professionalism, acknowledging Grant Delpit's well-earned recognition as the team's Walter Payton Man of the Year. For a moment, it appeared to be business as usual, the kind of standard weekly update coaches give without controversy. But as soon as a reporter brought up Sanders' performance and the visible hesitation he showed during practice, the tone shifted. What Stefanski offered wasn't guidance, wasn't reassurance, and wasn't a protective shield for his rookie. Instead, he delivered an indictment. Without raising his voice, without sounding emotional, he claimed that Sanders struggles to keep up with NFL game speed. The statement slipped out with the subtlety of a casual comment, but its impact hit with the force of a hammer. In a single moment, the head coach of the Cleveland Browns essentially told the entire football world that his own rookie quarterback might not be capable of processing the game at the level required to succeed. For fans and analysts who have watched this team stumble through quarterback after quarterback, this wasn't just concerning. It was infuriating. Because when a young player struggles with the speed of an NFL game, the responsibility to help him adjust lies entirely with the coaching staff. It is Stefanski's job to prepare Sanders through meaningful practice reps, through smart game planning, through simulated pressure situations designed to sharpen decision-making. And yet multiple reports reveal that Sanders wasn't even getting first-team reps leading up to his first start. Without chemistry with his receivers, without rhythm with his offensive line, without the repetitions needed to build timing, Sanders was thrown into the fire without protection. Then, when he understandably struggled, his coach publicly questioned whether he could handle the heat. It wasn't accountability. It wasn't honesty. It was deflection, a subtle shifting of blame as the walls of another disappointing season close in around Stefanski. To make matters worse, players inside the organization reportedly voiced concerns about the lack of preparation Sanders was receiving. Veteran right tackle Jack Conklin allegedly spoke up about the issue and found himself benched as a result. Instead of addressing a legitimate structural problem, the organization chose punishment. And instead of correcting their mishandling of Sanders' development, the coaching staff doubled down by sending a public message that the rookie himself, not the system around him, was the problem. Browns fans have seen this pattern before. Baker Mayfield's relationship with the organization deteriorated under Stefanski's watch. Deshaun Watson's career cratered after arriving in Cleveland, even as other quarterbacks with similar skill sets thrived in different systems. Even Joe Flacco, a seasoned veteran with a proven track record, briefly flashed competence before the same offensive environment dragged him down. The trend is unmistakable. Quarterbacks go into Stefanski's system and become worse, not better. Against this backdrop, Sanders has shown remarkable composure. When he addressed the media earlier in the week, he didn't complain. He didn't deflect responsibility. He didn't blame his circumstances. He took accountability for his performance and expressed his determination to improve, demonstrating a level of maturity and self-awareness that many rookies lack. He spoke like someone who understands the grind of the NFL, who knows that progression requires patience, resilience, and hard work. But all the professionalism in the world cannot erase the damage done when a coach undermines his quarterback publicly. Stefanski's comments were not just a critique, they were a narrative-setting move, laying the groundwork for shifting responsibility away from coaching failures and onto the shoulders of a young player who deserves better. Layered on top of all this chaos is the financial disaster that is Deshaun Watson's contract. The Browns are tied to a fully guaranteed deal that limits their flexibility and forces them to consider Watson's future no matter how poorly he performs. This creates a nearly impossible environment for Sanders. Even if he shines, even if he proves himself far ahead of schedule, he is not simply competing against another quarterback. He is competing against an $80 million cap disaster and a front office desperate to justify a decision that grows more regrettable with each passing week. It's a situation no rookie should have to navigate, especially not one with the pressure of a famous last name and the weight of franchise expectations on his shoulders. Despite these obstacles, Sanders has refused to break. He continues to prepare. He continues to hold himself accountable. He continues to face the media with grace. And now, as the final stretch of the season approaches, the burden placed upon him is almost unimaginable. He must play well enough to silence his critics, outperform internal biases, overcome a flawed practice structure, and rise above a system that appears determined to blame him for its own shortcomings. Most rookies are nurtured. Sanders is being tested. Most rookies are protected. Sanders is being exposed. Most rookies are guided. Sanders is being judged. And still, through all of it, he fights on. The next few games will define everything. They will determine whether the Browns commit to Sanders or retreat into fear, returning to the safety blanket of Watson's contract regardless of performance. They will determine whether Stefanski's words become prophecy or whether Sanders shatters the narrative being built around him. They will reveal whether Cleveland is finally ready to break free from its destructive habits or whether yet another talented quarterback will be lost to the vortex of dysfunction that has